First one, Ian, I recorded the first one and I'll forward it to you when it's downloaded.
Brilliant. Well done, mate. Thank you so much for doing that.
Okay.
You all right, Ian? You look a bit quiet.
The shit's hit the fan on my other job. I've got 2 Knights of the Realm arguing with the RAF College, and I'm trying to make sense of it all. It's all gone very political, but we were offering a service like a web service, which was supposed to celebrate 100 years of the college last year. And the minions, because they've had no direction from the top, have just gone loopy on us and have obstructed us and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it's come to a head, and it come to a point where it seems the deputy commandant just sloped shoulders, and he's been posted, leaving with the new girl and the new commandant holding the baby, and Sir Mike Graydon, an ex-chief of the air staff, Sir Chris Coble, ex-air member personnel, which is number 3 in the Air Force, going, and we're going, hang on, this is not what we're trying to achieve here. Just been on the phone for 40 minutes with 4 different people, so apologies for that.
You don't need it, though. With all the work you've done voluntarily, you don't need this.
Well, there are some spin-offs, John, because I confided in you the other day, because of Sir Mike Graydon, who's the president of the IBCC, which is a museum in Lincolnshire, celebrates the Bomber Command, which was a very sensitive topic over the last 5 years. I had an hour's dialogue with them on Monday, sharing notes.
Yeah.
And we've agreed to work together on the bit I've been doing for the college, which is literally 10-minute drive from Lincoln, 15-minute drive, and supplementing the information that the IBCC have found, and they go global.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're a professional organization. So yes, we've got a local problem, local politics, but we're actually making a lot of headway internationally, which I get a lot of pleasure out, as you can imagine. Yeah.
No, good luck with it.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely good luck.
Sorry about that. That was a bit of bit intense.
It's all right. We'll move on and let Paul to continue with. By the way, chaps, the guys from Tatley, if you want to interrupt or say something, stick your hand up like that. And we'll break you into it. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, right.
Unless your name's Ian or John or Ron, because we don't do that.
We'd be able to say.
Right, one or two other offerings about major upsets. One you probably remember was Japan beating South Africa at the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah.
Amazing result. Scored in the last minute. Eddie Jones was the coach at Japan for that one. Arguably the biggest upset in boxing was Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in 1991.
Yeah.
No one was expecting that at all, I don't think. Paul might correct me, might have a thought on that.
No, it came out of the blue, that one.
Yeah.
Came out of the blue, that one.
Yeah. I think that's what
Just
Mike
like
Tyson.
a Spitfire.
Yeah. Also, Cassius Clay beating Sonny Liston, I think, in '64.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Boris Becker winning Wimbledon at age 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unseeded player. Maria Sharapova also won Wimbledon at 17, and she beat Serena Williams and thrashed her in the final when Serena was in her heyday. Although she wasn't the youngest winner. There are 2 younger winners. Lottie Dodds, but she did it in 1887, so that might have something to do with it. But Martina Hingis also won as a 16-year-old. She was the one who beat Jana Novotná, if you remember, when Jana was winning by miles and fell apart.
Paul?
Yeah.
Who's the girl who won it one year and she was in floods of tears, and the Duchess of Kent?
That was Jana Novotná.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Sorry, and then she did come on to win it later. You're right, Ian. Sorry, yeah.
Has Pete Burnett got his hand up?
I was just going to say, and Maria Sharapova at 17 looked a lot better than Boris Becker at 17.
Can't argue with that. Yeah.
Everybody looks better than Boris Becker.
You remember Maria Sharapova was the one who sort of jumped up into the stands and tried to ring her mother on a mobile phone in Russia. Couldn't get through, and as a result got a multi-million-pound sponsorship deal with, I think it was Nokia or something like that. So yeah, she couldn't get a connection. Another
Can't
one,
knock you that.
yeah, can't knock it.
Yeah, Paul,
Right.
Paul, just before you move on, going back to the Cassius Clay Sonny system,
Yeah,
on about the rest of you, but we got up at 4 a.m. to watch.
Yeah, I did.
And it lasted about a minute.
No, that was the
the next one.
no, that was the next
So
one.
Ingemar Johansson beating
That was the next one.
Floyd Patterson.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
What about that one, Paul?
I've not got that down on my list.
No, sorry, I meant Big Paul, not Paul the Bee.
Oh right, sorry.
Yeah. Which one? Floyd Patterson?
Ingemar Johansson beating Sonny Liston.
Yeah.
No,
What I
Floyd
expected.
Patterson.
Floyd Patterson.
Right.
Right.
What
go on.
about, if we're on boxing, can I throw into the ring
Oh,
Ali versus Foreman, where
Yeah.
Foreman was definitely going to probably kill Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Everyone was fearing the worst, and that, to me, was the greatest boxing event I've ever had the pleasure to watch on television.
He was going to toast him, wasn't he, with his grill?
You mean was that the one?
Pardon?
Do you know what the
So-
biggest
so
shock
here.
in squash was?
go on.
Big shock when I ripped my shorts and there was girls in the gallery were trying to impress. Just the shorts ripping. It was the sound it made. Anything
That was an
much
upset,
better
was
than Billy Connolly could give, you know. It nearly fell off the gallery into the floor.
Go on then,
So
Paul.
embarrassed.
No, just show off.
Another one would be cricket. Netherlands beating England.
Yes.
This was in the ICC World 2020 in 2009. Clearly not read the script. It was supposed to be a complete walkover. The trouble is, they did it again 5 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So amazing results. But then again, we have been on the other side of it as well. I would put forward the suggestion about Botham's Ashes.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it 500 to 1 against as winning on the final day? Even some of the Australians had a piece of that action, I think.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
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 Um,
Get put in prison for 4 years and lose their careers though, did they? No.
No, they didn't. No. Probably many people regard the biggest upset of all time, although I have another personal favourite, which I'll tell you about in a sec, was what they called the Miracle on Ice. This was the 1980 Winter Olympics. This was when the USA beat the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union had won the last 6 Olympic Games. They were a fully professional team. The American team was all students, all college students, all amateurs, and they beat them.
I remember that.
With sort of typical American understatement, they call it the Miracle on Ice.
Was that the 60s, Paul? Around about
1980.
90, oh, more recent.
Yeah, Lake Placid. So yeah, it's it was at the time when the Russians were in their heyday, if you like. But yeah, especially as they played an exhibition match the week before the Olympics started, just as a warm-up practice game, and the Russians won 10-3.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a bit like the 1954 World Cup
Miracle at Bern.
in Switzerland, yeah. When, Hungary had beaten West Germany 8-3 in the qualifying group, and then Germany beat them 3-2 in the final.
Cool.
Yeah. Now, my
It's a
own,
good film, that actually. The film, the
Oh,
drama, dramatic film of that incident, The Miracle at Burn, it's called. Subtitled, I can definitely recommend it. It's a brilliant film.
right. Can you get it?
I've got the DVD. I'll lend it you sometime, Paul. I'll
All right.
spray it. I'll quarantine it and spray it, and you can borrow it.
And I'll leave it on my doorstep for 72 hours.
Look on, you might get it on YouTube.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Okay. Right. A couple of others. One I think is absolutely brilliant. I don't know if you remember, this is the 1972 Olympics. It's the basketball final, the Americans and the Russians. The Americans, they'd been the champions every single time there'd been a basketball tournament. So for the last 7 tournaments, they'd played 63 matches and won 63. And they got Russia in the final, and it was a really close game. And they were the Russians were winning by 2 points with about 40 seconds to go. The Americans had a breakaway, and one of their guys got badly fouled. They got 2 free shots, and the Americans went into a 1-point lead with 3 seconds left. Now, the interesting bit about it, and you can watch it on YouTube, because I was going to show it this morning till idiot, it dawned on me that if you try and show a YouTube video on Zoom, it kicks out your Zoom, doesn't it? So I'd found if you want to look it up, you know, there's several sort of 5-minute versions of it, because the Americans thought they'd won on 2 occasions, and it got taken away from them. Because what happened was, with 3 seconds left to go, the Russians threw the ball in, and the hooter went off, end of the game. So the Americans are celebrating, they're diving all over each other, jumping into the crowd and all that sort of stuff. But then one of the officials says, no, there are still 3 seconds left, because the clock hadn't been reset. So they needed to go back and play the 3 seconds again. Then the Russians threw the ball in, but then the hooter went again. The Americans celebrated for a second time. But the officials said, no, the Russians had called a timeout and we hadn't heard it. So we need to go back. And they made them play the 3 seconds again, because the hooter had gone off. There's a rule in basketball that the clock doesn't restart until the first person inside the court has touched the ball. So the Russians had had a little bit of time to think about this, and they got the ball under their own basket, and they just threw it the full length of the court. And of course, the clock doesn't start until the guy at the far end catches it. He probably fouled 2 Americans to get the ball anyway, but he scored within the 3 seconds. And then the Russians had won. So the Americans, twice having thought that they'd won the gold medal, were in the end robbed. Or they lost anyway.
I've seen that several times, Paul, and I think they were robbed.
Yeah.
I think
some people say,
robbery.
that, firstly, he was fouled when he caught it, the bloke fouled him. Others say, well, it still took him longer than 3 seconds to put it in anyway.
It was crooked. That in some way it was crooked.
But the Americans took it ever so well. They didn't turn up for the ceremony for the medal presentation.
Yeah, it's difficult to know which one to dislike more, really, isn't it?
That's true, Pete. True.
The medals are still in the Munich bank vault to this day. They had a pact, the whole team, that none of them would ever pick up their medals, and all the medals are still there. That's my
where was that again, Paul?
It was in Munich.
Where was that again, Paul? That event?
In Munich at the Olympics in '72.
Munich, thank you.
Yeah, so they're still there.
Paul?
Yeah.
Was it the following Olympics when the Americans decided to put the dream team in with all the pros?
That was a good bit later.
78 Olympics.
No, 76. I know that one.
Was it later, right?
Yeah, Barry would be here to remind me. I went there for my honeymoon. Because
yes, of course.
Yeah.
Which honeymoon was that?
Yeah, I know. That's the way the story goes. Yeah. We had tickets for the basketball final for the next year. So the 76 Olympics, we had tickets for the final, and the Americans got to the final. But unfortunately, Yugoslavia beat the Russians in the semi. Even so, we were standing in the queue to go in with our tickets. We were offered more for our basketball tickets than it had cost us for the whole trip, accommodation, flight, and the lot. We were offered more in that queue than it had cost us to go. That's how much the Americans wanted to see it.
And did you take it?
No, we went to the game.
Quite right.
Well done.
Yeah.
Might have been
Yeah,
tempted.
come all that way. You're not going to say, well, I could have
See
gone.
where
But I
the
didn't.
money is.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
what you could have had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just got one other that
Yeah.
you might be of interest. This time it's from horse racing. It's not the Foynhaven one. This one was in the USA in the early 1900s at the Sanford Memorial Stakes, a very well-known race, I'm sure. This horse was a 100-to-1 outsider up against, amongst others, Man o' War. And now even I've heard of Man o' War. Okay.
Yeah.
The horse had never lost a race in its career. It was a 100-to-1 outsider and it won the race by a nose. And the name of the horse was Upset.
Very good. Very good.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Very
well
good.
done, Paul. Brilliant.
Can I, Keith,
Yes.
can I chuck a couple of football ones in?
Yeah, go on then.
Sunderland versus Dirty Leeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's my all-time favourite game, not involving a team that I actually physically support. But in 1973, I watched that game on telly, and I was willing Sunderland forward.
Yeah,
And what
yeah.
a win! And
Yeah.
I have watched it recently again on YouTube, and it is an amazing game. It really is, and one of those amazing games that football throws up from time to time. And the underdog certainly won, and most of the underdogs team ended up in the first division for other teams. They were a very
Yeah.
good player. They got some fantastic players.
Montgomery did that double save.
Oh,
Yeah.
Montgomery's save, and Bobby Kerr and Watson at centre half, and Horsfield, and all those people went
Dennis
on.
Stewart.
For Man
Yes.
City, yeah.
Yes.
Ian
Just thought I'd throw that
Porterfield.
in because Ian Porterfield, indeed,
Yeah.
with the winner. Yeah,
And they played in red and white stripes.
they played in red and white stripes, so I pretended
Yeah.
that it was my team because it was the nearest I'm ever going to get. The other one is Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Wimbledon versus Liverpool was
Yes.
a
Yes.
sensational result, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry about Glyn Hodges at the weekend. He has been on our calls. He's a top football person, and I'm sure he will end up probably at Hillsborough running Wednesday. He would be a top man. The other one, if I may, Keith, just quickly, is a personal one. Is that all right? A shock, a shock, and that's Manchester United versus Sheffield United in April 1973. This is not the game referred to by the media recently. This is the previous season, and it was Bobby Charlton's last ever game at Old Trafford, and there were 57,000 there, and I was there. That's a picture of Tony Curry, who was the acting captain on the day, and of course Bobby Charlton. United obviously upset everybody by winning. They won 2-1, and that was the double that United had done over Manchester United that year. The following year is the year on Boxing Day when Sheffield United won again, and that's the one the media have been referring to when they said, United, that's the first time they've won there for a long time. It was a tremendous occasion to be at, and Old Trafford is always a great place to visit, but that was a sensational result and Bobby Charlton's last ever game at Old Trafford.
Yeah. Good man. Yes, Ian.
Just wanted to go back to Paul the Biscuit with a little bit of help, probably from Big Paul. You mentioned the horse Upset, and you also mentioned Foynhaven. But it was an interesting quirk of fate that Foynhaven was caught by the horse called, I think it was Popham Down or something down. Do you remember, Big Paul?
No.
But it was something down, and you brought the horse down, literally.
Down. Yeah. Yes, Peter.
Just going back to the West Indies being beaten by Holland. shortly after that, I went to France for a long weekend with Nottinghamshire County Cricket Club. And because in a former life, I worked for Gallagher's, Benson and Hedges, and I spent 11 years hosting Benson and Hedges matches at Trent Bridge. And I went to France with them, and they were playing Holland. And we all met in a pub and a bar the night before, and what Holland weren't going to do to Nottinghamshire, it was a very different team though. It chucked it down with rain. Everybody was wearing as much as they possibly could to play. Chris Lewis was a bit quick for the Holland team, and they got thrashed. They actually played a second game because it was over so quickly, the first one. I was out with my video camera watching Tim Robinson looking at the pitch, and I said, is it a batting or a bowling pitch, Tim? And he said, it's a batting, it's a get them in and let's knock them over pitch. So, and that's exactly what they did. But it was a different team, I have to say, to the Holland team that beat West Indies.
Yeah.
It was England they beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter, it was England that got beat by Holland.
Yes, yeah, but West Indies had been beaten by Holland
Ah, right, okay.
Think on.
in a 20 over or 50 over game.
Right. Yes, Ron.
I think you've all forgotten the biggest upset of all, the 1950 World Cup. USA won, England 0.
Oh, yeah.
When
Yeah.
England didn't have a bad side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I did have it down on my list. I just didn't mention it actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the player who scored the winning goal was later murdered in Haiti.
Yes, he was. Yeah,
he
was.
That's right.
So that's where he
Was
came
he?
from.
That's right. He was.
Yeah. Played his football in France, but he was Haitian.
Yeah. Dave
The
the
goal-
Beard.
The American goalkeeper was Scottish.
Yeah.
But you can't go without mentioning Eagles against Wigan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
Right, yeah.
yeah,
Definitely.
Biggest surprise, it still fits.
yeah.
Good effort, mate.
Fantastic
Good
win,
effort.
that. Absolutely brilliant win.
I went down with my son and my dad.
Did you?
Went down. I hadn't got a rugby shirt. I've got my Sheffield United shirt on to go to a rugby match. But not be bothered. Who you supported? Eagles, of course, Sheffield. And came away with a sore throat. It was just
Fantastic.
Eagles all the way.
Superb
through.
win.
What a magnificent day.
Yeah.
And just, Paul, talking of betting, Eagles were 10-1 that day.
Right.
No, I didn't. I don't bet. I did.
10
What
to
a day.
Yeah.
one game.
The biggest shame, though, there was a bit when they paraded the trophy on Pargate. There was barely anybody there. You just think if it had been Wednesday or United
Yeah.
parading FA Cup, they wouldn't have dared let them walk down Pargate. The Eagles
No.
walked up Pargate with the trophy, and whether it was the time 5:30, I don't know. What a shame.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
They didn't have a particularly big following at Wembley, did they, really?
Tell you all.
Yeah,
Yes.
they didn't have a particularly big following when you were actually at Wembley. It's
No.
only 2000, wasn't it?
It wouldn't have been many because I mean, they struggled as a team for support. You know, they
I
used to
think
get
6,000.
yeah.
How many?
6,000 apparently. They
Yeah,
said.
6,000, yeah.
Yeah. I
Was
mean,
that
Mark
when they
Aston
played at
deserves
Dunbar?
some sort of award for what he's done for Sheffield Eagles over the years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
Was that when they were playing at Don Valley?
I think it was, yeah, because
Yeah.
I think a match not long after the Challenge Cup final was against Wigan, and they got hammered about 40 something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So, Mike or Philip, have you got anything that you can offer us?
Well, there are a couple of cup final shocks that haven't been mentioned. Southampton beating Manchester United in 1976 with an outrageous offside goal, and also more recently Wigan beating Man City.
Yeah.
Those are two. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Of course, the through ball was from Jimmy McKelly.
Mike.
Yeah, it was from the ex-Wednesday player.
Bobby Stokes.
Yeah. Philip, have you got any?
I've nothing regarding that. I'm going back to when you were talking about policemen and Peter Springer. He was actually present when the World Cup was found, when it was lost that year.
Was
He
he?
was actually one of the policemen that was actually there when it was handed back in.
Yep.
On that as well. Regarding the videos, I've got fairly comprehensive collection of sports videos on DVD at some point. When we get back to normal, anybody can borrow. We've actually been putting some of them on show at our meetings. There's only been like 5 or 6 of us, but we've actually been showing them on the wall. So it makes a good
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Nice.
Right.
I'll tell you a shot. How many teams have been head of the Premiership this season?
9.
9.
9, yeah, but who would have expected that?
Yep.
By this stage of the season.
Yes, John.
Sorry, I've got to mention 1991 Rumbelows, obviously, for upsets. Wednesday against Manchester United.
Yeah.
I was certainly upset, John.
Pardon? You were
I
very
was certainly
upset.
upset.
I'm glad about that. Yeah, I'm very pleased about that. I've been to Wembley so many times and lost in various competitions, including the Mercantile Credit Trophy. So to actually beat Manchester United at Wembley was superb.
Yeah, quite right.
I mean, and going back, QPR beating, was it West Brom they beat in the League Cup final when QPR were in the third
Rodney
division?
Marsh. Yeah.
Swindon.
Swindon.
Yeah, did Swindon beat?
Yeah.
Well,
Arsenal.
Swindon beat West Brom, didn't they?
No,
Arsenal.
they beat
Arsenal.
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 Right.
They beat Arsenal on a cabbage patch of a pitch.
Yeah.
Don Rogers
Show
was doing
jumping, haven't they? They had
Pardon?
show jumping.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
Show
That's
jumping.
sure,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
Horse of the Year show.
Yeah.
Now,
mate.
And War of the Monster Trucks. Yeah.
yes. Brian, the whistle. Have you been involved in any shocks?
Well,
Yeah, everyone's got a decision right.
It looks
Yeah.
as though he has.
I was talking to Keith earlier because I didn't know whether I'd be here or not. But the shock that is mostly in my mind is one game I was actually refereeing, and it goes back a while to when Burton Albion were in the Northern Premier League, and they were playing Telford, who were in what is now the National League. Well, I think in those days it was either the Vauxhall Conference or the Gola League. That's how far I'm going back. And Burton actually won 3-0. But as I said to Keith, it's often quite easy to win 3-0 when you're playing 8 men. And that's what happened. But the main memory for me is that obviously having sent 3 players off, the press reports from the Telford side weren't very complimentary, and I actually saw all these because Jane, bless her, my wife, lives in Oswestry, or her mum lives in Oswestry in Shropshire, and they get the Shropshire Star, and we just happened to be going that next week, and this newspaper was there, and it was emblazoned on the back page and a couple of the inside pages, but it was quite funny in the sense that this reporter is slagging me off, but he makes comments like, and then the referee sent so and so off, and he only swore at him, and I remember there was a comment from the Burton manager at the time. And he said, yeah, it happened very close to the dugouts. And if one of my players had said what that guy said to the referee, it'd have been psyched, you know. But then afterwards, in the national press, there was obviously it hit the national press, and there was a big story about the fact that you know, here's what's happened, and the referee had to be escorted off the pitch at the end, and after the game, he left the ground by a turnstile in the corner of the ground. So it sounds like quite like sort of cloak and dagger. So on Monday morning, Les Payne from the start, who I had a very good relationship with, he phoned me up and he said, "What happened, Brian? Like what's with the escort off at the end?" And I said, "Well, it's perfectly true, Les. As in every game before that game and every game after, and it still happens now, at half-time and full-time, there's a security guy walks onto the field and escorts the referee off. And that happens even if it's a 0-0 board draw and everybody's happy. And as far as leaving by a turnstile in the corner, I said, yeah, that's also perfectly true, Les, but remember, it's Burton Albion, and this is Burton Albion a long time before they got in the Football League. I said, it's Burton Albion, and that turnstile in the corner was the same turnstile that everybody left the ground in. So it was an example of how the press can sort of tell the truth, but distort the actual story to the nth degree. So it was an interesting experience all round.
Yeah. Just for the Totley guys, just to explain, Brian used to be a Football League referee, so
yes, I guess.
Andy's a Unitedite, so it's a double whammy.
He's told us about some of his exploits previously. He does seem to have got a bit of a history of sending multiple players off.
Good man.
The referee that I remember was from Liverpool, a fella called Evans. I can't remember his first name now. Many years ago. Never saw him at the field except the friendly with Everton pre-season. But he used to go into the dressing room and say, "All right, lads, have a good game. Remember, one warning and you're off." He'd go out, then he'd stick his head back in and say, "You've had your warning."
Was it Clive Evans?
Never had any trouble.
Was it Clive Evans? Clive?
It might have been, but I can't remember.
Yeah. Right. Anybody else got any? Excuse me. Any shocks? Yes.
One
Yes,
more
Dave,
football one.
Yeah.
I have to mention my second side, Lincoln City, in the FA Cup beating Burnley of the Premiership.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think, right, they were non-league at the time, and
Yes,
I don't
they were.
remember. I was watching it, and I rang my friend up, said, "Congratulations." Why? Is it over? There's a time lapse on his. He didn't realise they'd actually won.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, Phil, you put your hand up.
I didn't know how close we were to the end. Before I lose chance to say it, thank you for having us today.
Yeah.
I hope we can get more people to join you on another Zoom meeting. When we get anywhere near like back to normal, we could hopefully get together for something. We have quite a few events planned that we had to cancel due to COVID. But we have had trips out. Plus, we've got the facility of using a minibus as well, because I'm a driver, secretary of Manor Community Transport, so we use their minibuses, which helps us.
Yeah. We have, Phil, we have our own story about a minibus. The ladies from the library organised a trip to the Manchester Football Museum.
Yeah, we went there, yeah.
And they organised a 17-seater coach for us. So 17 of us turned up, but what the guys hadn't told them was that the 17th seat was taken by the driver.
We've got 3 brand new 16-seater minibuses just before the COVID started. So we've got about 3 brand new buses at Manor, and I'm the secretary of the group. I can get them cheap I can
Oh,
also
that's
drive
good.
them myself, so it helps
That's
us.
good to
We've
know.
been to Manchester. Well, we went to Reading. We went out on a day trip on one of them. And it's nice to have that sort of facility to get out there.
Yeah.
We've been to the museum at Manchester, been to Headingley, been to Sheffield FC, I've been to Sheffield United. So we've had 1 2 trips. We've got a little bit of funding from Age UK, so it gives us that facility to go out and do things when we get a chance.
Yeah.
Well, we want one trip out when we can get to it, and that's to Chris's house. He's got
Museum?
a museum.
There'll be a fee.
Yeah.
There'll be a fee.
Your loft,
Yeah.
Keith.
Or my loft, yes. So, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope
Yeah,
you'll
have indeed.
and I hope you'll join us in future.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Very hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, you probably haven't grasped. There's 1 or 2 in jokes that you'll probably get to realise what the future.
Yeah. Sheffield Wednesday being one of them.
Well, I've got a little bit in front of the other guys because I went to Crystal Peaks Library, then I was thrown out by the woman that ran it because I was told that there were too many of you. Then I joined the Manatop group for a while, and on that particular day I couldn't go, so then I joined Totley group, and now the guy that's been running it, Phil, he's had to take on his family's children who died, so he's not been able to come at the moment, so he's not been joining in at the moment. So I'm just helping with all the others running it.
Yeah, I mean that guy who you've just mentioned, if he wants to come on the Zoom meetings, then please send me the details and I'll pass them on. More the merrier. It's
good, thank you.
And it's always good to get a bit of a fresh insight into some things. So you know.
And I just say that regarding football, I'm not a football follower. I'm a
United.
I'm a Liverpool supporter. I'm a Liverpool. So if it's not Liverpool, I'm not interested.
Oh dear.
Well, that's 2 of you.
That's
Sorry.
interesting. If it is
That's 2 of you,
Liverpool, I'm
Keith.
not interested.
Okay.
Keith, just to
Yes.
finish, vital game at Bramall Lane. It's 19 years since the Battle of Bramall Lane against
Oh,
West
God.
Brom. That was
Yeah.
a shock. That was a shock when that game was stopped. The only game ever in the Football League.
Yeah.
19
Yeah,
years
something else
on.
to be proud of.
Don't mention that tonight.
And you can't-
Megson as the manager. Great man.
You can't
Yeah.
blame me for that.
Right, chaps. With less than a minute to go, so let's wrap it up. Thank you, and we'll see
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All the best. All the best.